Motivation. I'm motivated. But what do you do when motivation is not enough? You rely on your work ethic. You rely on your discipline. That's Minetality. Now let's get it.
The stage, please welcome Julian Peters.
What's going on, everybody? This is Julian back with Minetality Podcast. For those listening, welcome back to my voice. For those watching, say hello to my beautiful face. Today, we got two great individuals, Matt and Rachel Spanos. I'm excited. This is the new start of a series in which we're interviewing couples in which either both or one does prep and, kind of that process. So how are y'all doing today?
Good.
Doing good. We're in Fort Lauderdale, away from home.
Yeah.
Having fun.
Is it vacation?
Oh, kind of. So we're here. We have an investment property here. So we're here working, but we're mixing some fun in, chatting with you. We're gonna get some food later.
Yeah. It's
Until Ryan.
We're
gonna get some ground chicken later.
By the time he watches this, it'll be like a week from now. And he won't watch it anyway. So
Yeah. All right. Good.
That's awesome, man. How long are y'all down there?
Till Monday. We head back Monday at like 2. Right?
Yeah.
Y'all got a bunch of investment properties?
This is our third one. So we have 2. Well, I guess so. The one we're living in, the one we've got long-term tenants in Jersey, and then this is our third one. This is going to be like Airbnb. So we're trying to get more into like the short-term rental space.
Yeah. I've been wondering about that. I know a couple of people who have gotten condos, and they're talking about Airbnb or doing that process.
It's cool, man. The problem is though, now we're here. I'm like, maybe you should just move in. I don't want to rent it out anymore. I just want to live out here.
I don't know how y'all live up north. It's cold up there, man.
She's very over it. I'm pretty over it. She's been over it for a while.
So there might be a move soon.
Oh yeah. For sure.
I feel that. All right, so getting into what talking about, we talked to Rachel the last time. I remember what you did for a living. You do like the bio with the embryo and something else, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, what do you do?
So a couple of things. So my primary career, I'm an executive for a technology company, and I lead a team of sales reps and basically sell software to Fortune 500 corporate legal departments, just technology software. Mm-hmm. And then now, like the side hustles, we're starting to get into the investment property stuff, trying to just find other revenue streams, cryptocurrency, NFTs. But mainly the technology gig takes up most of my time.
Yeah, that's the phone calls during while Rachel's on stage job, right?
Oh my! That Friday, we'll talk more about that. But yes,
yeah,
that's the longest, maybe the longest day of my life for sure.
Yeah,
longest weekend for sure.
I imagine. So, how did you all meet?
Go ahead. We argue about it a little bit. We know we met in New Brunswick.
Yeah,
and we know
at
that
school.
At school for sure.
It wasn't at the bar. It was after the bar at the pizza place that everybody goes to.
So we know that, but there's been arguments about which actual pizza place it was. But it was like 2, 3 in the morning after the bar. We definitely had more drinks than we should have. I saw her inside. I'm like, super cute girl getting food. I tried to be super, super slick, super cool. I told the guy, I'm like, look, whatever the score is, just put it on my tab. And the guy's like, what tab? Like, what tab do you have? I'm like, no, just put it on my tab. Slipped him like a $10 bill and just walked out. Yeah. She orders her food. She gets her drink, whatever. Guy tells her that I paid for it. So she comes outside, like super bold, which I thought was cool. I was like, you're going to buy my food, but you're not going to talk to me. And then we started chatting, and then one thing led to another.
And then we kind of just kept running into each other and stuff afterwards. So
decided to do a date from there. Yeah, exactly. I texted her the same night she gave me her phone number.
There you go.
I thought it was over at that point, but she responded, so
it was funny.
So I'm like, she's cool.
That was smooth, bro. $10 got you in there.
That's it. It's like a slice of pizza and an orange soda.
Yeah.
What if it was more than $10? What would you have done?
I mean, this podcast might not be happening right now because I didn't have. She would order $40 worth of food and just been like, this guy. And that's all I had. Like, I'm in college.
Yeah, I feel you. I understand.
So it worked out. Luckily, she didn't need a lot at that time.
Right. At that time.
At that time.
I see what
It
you
was
can
meal
do.
prep.
Yeah. So, and how long have y'all been together?
Married, gonna be 8.
Gonna be 8 years.
Together for 12. 12 years together.
12 years.
That's a whole life.
Yeah. September 1 will be 8-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, that's coming up too. Any big plans, or are you just gonna stay at the investment property and just chill?
I came up with an idea on the flight here.
Oh, okay.
Remember I told you I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
How do y'all celebrate?
Huh?
How do y'all celebrate? So, like, before I got divorced, me and my ex-wife, we split. So every year, one of us would take Valentine's Day and the other one would take anniversary.
Okay.
What do y'all do?
I mean, I feel like usually the anniversary would fall in kind of the prep season. So we wouldn't really go all out, I feel like. Would we?
No.
Well, how do we celebrate then?
I don't know. We usually just like do dinner.
Yeah, we keep it light.
Yeah,
like,
we're not really like.
We don't go crazy for holidays, birthdays, anniversaries. It's just like, we'll do dinner.
I hate
something
birthdays. Spontaneous.
There's too many. The older you get, the more there are.
Yeah.
There's like, we have like 13 nieces and like 30 nephews. It's like, you just text me like, hey, it's this person's birthday. This is the Amazon link. Click this, buy this. I'm like, all right, cool. Done.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So getting into kind of what we're here to talk about, so to speak, is I wanted to get a perspective of competing for both of you. So a little bit of background for those listening, like Rachel is the grinder when it comes to competing. 22 or 21 shows before she got her pro card. If you've been in a prep, then you know that's already a crazy process. I think a lot of people don't necessarily hear from the spouse's side or the boyfriend or the girlfriend side. So that's why I'm really interested. So I'm gonna ask Rachel first. What is your perspective on being in a relationship, competing, and what you thought it took to help you get to where you got to with his help?
So competing in itself is very selfish. But at the same time, you do affect who you're around, your family members, my spouse, my lifestyle. We're not able to go out to eat. We're not, we're going to the gym all the time. Vacations got to be put on hold. So it definitely has an effect on your everyday life. And it's
important to have buy-in, I think, from both sides. Like, important to have buy-in from the spouse for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I can see how it can be hard on a spouse that doesn't really understand competing or maybe isn't so supportive of it. It could definitely cause some strain in the relationship, but it definitely helps a lot when they're being supportive, and even if they don't really understand like what's going on. Right?
Yeah.
What about for you, Matt?
So from my perspective, I think it's interesting. Like, I've watched her through this, is it 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
This 7-year journey go from an amateur, qualified for, the regional shows, qualified for national shows, won the regional, went to national, now going pro. So you evolve as an athlete. You go from being very new at it to being a pro. And I think it's kind of the same thing from the spouse perspective, from the supporter perspective. I think starting from the very beginning, went to New York, her very first coach asked her to go in the back and get dressed because she was just like trying to figure out her measurements and like, her diet plan. And she pulls me aside and she's like, are you ready for this? And I'm like, I'm not the one competing. Like, I'm like, it's her. Like, what do you mean? She's like, you need to understand, like, your life's about to change. And I'm like, I don't know what she's talking. I don't get it. Like, it's whatever. And I totally just brushed it aside. Like, I'm supporting her. What's the big deal? She's going to work out more. She's going to do some shows, whatever. It's definitely, it's a lifestyle change for sure. I mean, a lot of our common ground, it was like, we went to restaurants together, we drank together. Like, these are things we enjoy to do together. All that changes, all that goes away. And so I think just as she evolved as a competitor, I evolved as a supporter. In the beginning, like, yeah, like you can go super negative and be like, this is so selfish. We don't get to go out to eat. I don't have my drinking buddy. Like, but I think as you get older and you see it more as like, this is an incredible opportunity and an advantage for me to have this perspective and seeing my spouse, the person I'm in love with, level up, evolve, to like physically go into an incredible direction, like evolve in that way. And so it's, you go from, I think you see it as negative and all these different lifestyle changes to it's more of an opportunity. You have a front row seat of seeing this journey. And at the end of the day, it's helped me too physically. I've eaten better. You know, I've gotten a seat. We went to Charleston and it's all these different places. So as much as like, there's probably whoever watches your podcast, I'm sure there's like the spouses and supporters are like, come on, bro. Like, no, make it seem bad. Like patronize us. So they're probably not going to like me. But at the end of the day, there's way worse things that your spouse can be into. This is an incredible thing. And so the older I've gotten, the more I've appreciated it.
It's actually interesting you say that because I agree. A lot of people are probably wanting the juicy, like he went through hell. They almost got like, but it's what you said is powerful in the sense of it's really perspective. Like you said, I've never thought about it like that. But if somebody is really supporting you and they're looking at it like I get to watch my person evolve, I bet you feel a lot different about what's going on. So I've never thought about it that way. That's the first time I've heard that, but I love that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it just challenges you. Like, I think it's almost like couples therapy in a way, but I think it brings couples to a crossroads to realize how much they truly, like how much you really care about each other, how much you really support each other.
And also, like, I think a way that I have evolved is I've gotten a lot better during prep. You know, in the beginning, I wasn't going to any social functions. I literally could not be around food. I could not do anything. Like, I was shut down.
I'm saying it lightly.
It
was a war zone.
I got a lot better. I can sit there and watch you guys eat some pizza.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Tell them about when the scale didn't work that one time with your salmon.
But I definitely feel like I, have evolved in that way where I take you into consideration a lot more, because before it was all about me, how I'm feeling. This is my prep. This is what I got to do to get to my show. But now,
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, she was so like during this past season, her prep was so methodical and so like empathetic towards me. Like I could eat what I want. She wasn't getting upset if I like sent her a selfie video of me in the sub. She wouldn't get mad about it. I kind of knew at that point that she had reached, I felt like she was going pro. Like I felt like this was the year she was going pro because of the way that she was handling prep and like her mindset during it towards me. I'm like, she's handling it so professionally that like literally, no pun intended, like she's going pro. I almost knew it. Yeah, it's crazy.
No, that's awesome. So let me ask this then. You talked about the social events and all of that. How is that for you though, as well, Matt? Because I know back in my time, it wasn't just the fact that like I couldn't go and eat. It was the fact that everybody there was going to ask about what was going on. It's almost like my spouse wasn't there because like, was Julian going to be able to eat? Is he going to be able to do this? When is his show? And it's like you feel like you're almost taking attention away from her, and you're not even doing nothing. You're there to be
for
there
sure.
Supporter.
Yeah, man, it was. To be honest, like, because sometimes physically she wasn't there, right? Like there's sometimes, I think, like she said, she got better about it as years went on, where she could come to the family events and the social events. Like my mom from Ohio, like Midwest, Youngstown, like her idea of a get together means she's making fried chicken, she's making collard greens, she's making everything and feeding everybody. And that's, if you're not eating, you're a weirdo. Like if you're not, like, what's wrong? Are you sick? Are you? And so in the beginning, like the first few years, Rachel just wouldn't come, like, because, and I understood, like, it wasn't fair to her, to have to be around all that. I think is part of just like growing and maturing and understanding the sport and just the art of prepping. So during that time, like we were, I feel like we've talked about this. It was on the verge of creating a rift, I think, between like my mom and her, because my mom started to think why isn't she coming? Like, why isn't she coming to these events? Does she not like us? And then my dad's like, is this true? And then I've got, siblings asking the same thing. So it was close to causing a rift. And then she'd start coming around and my mom would be like, don't worry, like this chicken's healthy. And you see like the grease like popping out of the pan. And I'm like, no way. Like it's like burning me while she's trying to. And so she'd bring her food. And then my mom's the type where it's like, don't bring food to my house because it's my house and I'm the one that makes the food here. But just as we talked about, like she grew in the process, I grew in the process. And then eventually like my family grew and they understood too. And they'd be like, she's doing her thing. They can see her physically. She looks crazy. Like she looks great. We're starting to travel and do these regional shows. Like, okay, like this is serious. And so they understood it more. They were more empathetic.
Right.
And it was getting more serious as, the years had gone on, just more competitive. And they could see that I wasn't giving up anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think it's important too, when you mention the family aspect, is that though. Because like, I know part of it would be like, I'm on diet, but then like my mom might catch me at McDonald's low key in the drive-thru. So now that causes her to question everything. Like, are you really on diet or you just don't want to eat my food? You know what I mean? Like some of the stuff I went through, or like
now you're causing crazy issues. Like,
right.
Mom thinks that you don't like her food. That's like that's catastrophic.
Yeah, potentially. That's the worst, man. So it's funny. It's funny you say that though. With the family aspect, because that's such a pressure-filled situation. Because you want to go to those events, but again, Rachel, maybe you could talk about this. The one thing I just couldn't stand, and I have to go through this now. Like I have a new job. I've literally privately messaged every supervisor I have because they have sent me invites to Topgolf, drinking, like happy hour and food. And I'm like, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm probably not gonna eat. I'll be there, I'll be laughing, I'll be happy, but like let's get this out the way now. Because I know you and everybody else, when I get there, it's gonna be like, oh my God, you're not eating. So is that something you had to go through?
At work, yes, definitely.
Donuts and stuff at your job.
Yes, we always have patients that are bringing food in for us, like donuts and cakes and breakfast and pizza and
regular food. Like, this is normal food.
Regular lunch food. And I always get, everyone's always looking at me like, you're not going to eat any. And it's like, you can have one, you can just have a bite. Like, and it gets old after a while. And I think they just start to realize like, she can't or she won't. And, it's just one of those things that you have to get used to, and everyone who's around you has to get used to as well. It's like, it's so new to them. They don't understand. And it's just something that, everyone has to kind of like see their way through.
Yeah.
So with family, Matt, was there ever a point that you had to kind of stand in and be like, hey, like what she's doing is for real. Like, this is why we're doing it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think you have to like that, like, I don't, one thing I don't ever try to do is take credit for anything when it comes to her journey and going pro. She did that on her own. Like I was there for her, but certain things I will take credit for. And one of it is like, as the support person, you have to kind of defend them from people like that. Because if you don't, like, I could picture people being like, oh, come on, babe. Like, it's okay. Like, just have one. Like and now you're egging it on. Now you're support. Like, 100%. If you ever meet my family, they're very type A, red personality, like in your face. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to eat. So yeah, I mean, I had to be her last line of defense a lot of times, up until the point where they really understood. I feel like there were plenty of times where I'm like, no, like she's good, like she's got her food. Don't do it. Not even, do it beforehand. I text my mom and be like, hey, like she's not, don't pressure her to do this and that. And eventually, like I feel like the past year or so, like it was good. Like there was very little pressure.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. To answer your question, 100%, I have to like intervene and like back her up and say like, you guys can't do this. I mean, it's just an interesting dynamic in our culture is like, we're the weird ones for wanting to eat healthy. It's crazy.
Well, and I've told
It's-
people this, like when it comes to like obviously food in general, just the education of it, how it works, nutrition is terrible, which is why America is like topping obesity rates. But if you look at it, like
Mhm.
everything is revolved around food. Like we have
Yeah.
a church
Yeah.
potluck,
Yeah.
potluck, food, holidays, food, meetings. I'm just like, yo, this really, I didn't realize it until I started. I'm like, there's nowhere to go where somebody's not
Everything.
talking about food.
Or drinks. If it's not food, it's drinking. Otherwise, you're just a weirdo. Like you're straight. Like what's wrong? Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
You had that time, I think, like whatever they call the
Yeah.
post-show blues. Remember, we were trying to figure out what to do, and we
there
were
was
just breaking down.
one year, it was probably a week after the show, and I didn't want to drink alcohol. I wanted to still eat kind of healthy, and we were trying to figure out what to do. And I literally just started crying because I'm like, everything revolves around food or drinks. I'm like, we can't go bowling because we're gonna go to the bar at the bowling alley and then order like all this junk. We can't go to the movies. We can't, like, what do we do? We're like, there's nothing to do.
Right.
And it was just, I was really sad about it.
Yeah. It's kind of true though. You kind of lose friends. Your circle gets smaller. Like,
Yep.
It does.
but it's all right. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
cool.
I'm fine with it, but yeah, it does. Your circle definitely gets smaller, and it's not even so much food because that's fine. I think for me, granted, I'm older now, but back when I started, I was like 26, 27. Everybody's wanting to go out. Everybody want to go to the bar, and I'm just like, first of all, I don't drink like that in the first place.
For sure. Me neither.
But
Yeah.
on top of that, I'm just like, yeah, I would rather not go out and y'all be like, you know, drunk and wasted, and I'm over here sitting here chilling. Like, I don't want to do that. So you do lose friends, but at the end of the day, I'm like, how close were we if that is what separates us?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
now,
Yeah.
but on to the next thing. So I'm interested to know this. What was one of the biggest struggles y'all have had to deal with while Rachel's in prep?
So I think
She's looking like, I can't wait to hear.
Oh my God, what is it?
She's looking like, I
It's a
cannot
trap.
wait to hear what you're about to
She
say.
texted you like asking this
We
question.
planned this
I know.
one.
She's just like, I got like my right side of my face got hot. I think for the past few years, I just haven't drank. Like I just stopped drinking, like focus more on just being healthy, being super productive. But for the first 4 or 5 years of her competing, probably 4 years, I did like to drink. I like to go out. I like to party. And that was something, like I was saying before, we just did together. We'd go out, we'd go to bars, we'd go to clubs. She's my best friend, and so when she started prepping for however long, what was it, 6, I don't know how long this prep obviously.
Like 4 months.
There's just a 4-month period where it's like, you kind of lose your best friends because I'm going out with my other buddies, but it's still not the same. And then I come back home, then I'm hungover the next morning and she's gone to the gym and then I'm putting on weight. So I'm feeling kind of crappy about myself. So I definitely struggled with that because I just felt like we were losing things to do together. Like we still would watch shows together. We had our series and we would still work out occasionally. I wasn't going to the gym nearly as much, but definitely struggled with like constantly, like I really want to go to dinner with her. I want to have some glasses of wine. I want to get drunk together every once in a while. Not being able to do that was a huge struggle, like for sure. Like I felt lonely, selfishly lonely during her prep for the first few years.
How do you get past it?
I mean, I think the stars kind of aligned with me making the life decision of just not drinking anymore. Like I felt like I wasn't productive. I was overweight. I was unhealthy. I had high blood pressure. And so I'm like, I'm going to stop drinking. I think that bridged the gap substantially because there weren't these long nights. I was going out for like 2 nights with my brother, or we were drinking around the house, or I'd convince her. Sometimes during prep, I feel like I convinced her to drink and that would set her back like 2-3 days. Mm-hmm. I think making that lifestyle change was monumental because that got me going into the gym, and all of a sudden all those old, commonalities that we had together went away. And our new common ground was like gym, eating healthy, watching Netflix, like hanging out with our dog. And the more we have in common, I think the more it provided motivation for her, the less alienated I felt, and the more I could be there for her emotionally and physically as she prepped and as she got ready for her shows.
And that also helped me too in my off season, because before, when we were still drinking, as soon as I hit the off season, I put on all this weight because I'm drinking and eating crap.
Yeah.
But it's like now that, we don't really drink, it's, the off season is much cleaner. You should stay focused on your goals. And it's just, overall, it's just quality of life is better.
For sure. And obviously, like that's a very, that's an uncommon example, or not like a realistic example. Like if somebody's watching your podcast and they're trying to figure out like, how can I be a better spouse? How can I be a better supporter? They're not going to watch this and be like, okay, I'm just not going to drink anymore ever. That's an incredible lifestyle change,
right?
That I decided to do separate from her competing. I would say, like, advice I would offer is going back to what we were talking about before, is just, you can, like, I think people underestimate how much control we really have over our brains, and perspective is so subjective. And I think for the first few years, my perspective was, I'm the victim. I can't go out to eat anymore with her. We can't drink together. And then the last couple of years, my perspective changed to like, look at how she's physically changing. Look at how like incredible her focus is. Like, oh, poor me. I've got a wife that's walking around with less sub 10% body fat that looks great, and that's going to the gym and being super healthy and not going out and spending money on food or shopping. Like, I think if you just change your perspective to like, this is a really cool opportunity, and you're in a situation where your husband or wife can become a pro athlete, achieve their goals, and you get a front row ticket at no cost. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. It's a privilege. And I think it's just like, do you have control over your own perspective, like in that way, Yeah,
I get it. So I will say this. I know you're not taking credit for what Rachel has done. Obviously, she's worked her tail off to get the pro card, but everything I'm hearing is damn for sure a team effort.
Oh, yeah.
Get to that point. Like, you have to take the credit, but it's definitely your team, because like you said, when all the stars aligned and she was focused, that it made it easier to get to that point. And coming from a person who has been on the side of when it wasn't easy and when it was. So I get it, bro. The stress of it all stinks when you're like, I know I got to go to the gym. I know I've been here for 2 hours, but I know my spouse, I haven't talked to them. We haven't hung out. Don't even add the fact that you got a full-time job to go along with this. Like, it's just really hard for both. So the unity that you guys are showing or kind of displaying is really something I would aspire to have in my next relationship on that one. So I appreciate y'all for that, for real. So, and it's
absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. No, it's been great. It's been an awesome journey. And while I won't take credit, I mean, obviously, she needed somebody there to carry her bags, or drive her around when she's got to get her hair done or her makeup done, tell her 3 to 5 to 15 times a day that she looks good and she's not fat.
That sounds like words of affirmation, love language right there.
Yeah, but it builds character. Like it truly builds character. And like I said, you can look at it as, all right, here we go again. Now we got to go to Charleston, get your bags packed, get a sitter for the dog. Or you can look at it as, I'm going, here's her opportunity. I'm going to help her get her bags. I'm going to buy a couple cigars. I'm going to get a nice hotel. I'm going to treat it like a vacation. But when she needs to be driven around, I'll be there to drive her around. It's like, I think it just comes down to perspective. Yeah, I think it was a team effort for sure. I mean, her doing the heavy lifting and me just making sure that she never fell.
Yeah, I like,
her spotter.
I like that.
Oh, that's nice.
That was kind of dope, man. That was a gem right there. I'm about to use that later. I ain't heard that one. So
she might take me to dinner after this, maybe.
You gotta ask Ryan first.
Ask Ryan. I'll ask Ryan.
Man, like I said, I'll wait a week so he won't see it.
I'll ask him now. He'll tell me on Thursday.
He'll tell you next week, right?
It doesn't matter.
For those listening and watching, we are all on the same team, and we all have a common denominator, which is a coach who just seems to love to get back to us later than usual. He gets back to us, though.
He definitely gets back to us.
Yeah.
You gotta be more strategic about it. Like, hey, look, it's August. Like on October 28th, can I have a cheat meal?
Right.
And I'm just kidding.
There's no expiration date on response times with Ryan here. I'll put it like that. So
yeah.
As far as teamwork goes, leading into that, what are some ways that you guys work together on a prep? Like, I don't know if you can cook, but were you like cooking meals? Were you ordering meals? Were you like, I'll go to the grocery store, I know you're tired. Like, what are some ways that you guys might have worked together for the prep?
I mean, you definitely would hit the grocery store for me a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you would make sure I go to the gym.
Yeah, we go to gym.
Yeah, like make sure I'm like keeping up with posing, I'm hitting my meals, like
little things too.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes if I notice that she might be hitting a little bit of a stall point, like she's not feeling in prep, like I'd be like, let's go get some gym clothes. And then we go to like Dick's or somewhere and like go get a bunch of gym clothes. And I think like selfishly too, I know that would kind of motivate me to go to the gym a little bit more too. I think stuff like that, like working as a team, you know, finding ways to like reignite like the prep flame if it's starting to fade. Definitely like the grocery thing's a no-brainer. I mean, I come from a background where it's like, it's not about like, does the girl cook or the, you know, does the guy, it's just very like, that's super old school to me anyway.
Yeah, I hate that. I love cooking too. I love cooking, so I would rather cook, to be honest.
Yeah, like I'm just like that blows my mind. But yeah, like, you know, if she's on her way home, hey, can you throw this in the microwave? Can you heat this food up? Like, can you throw the Tupperware in the fridge? You know, for work the next morning. I mean, just like I would say, I was lucky enough where I think she was more dependent on me emotionally more than anything. Like just reassurance that she's doing okay. And we'll talk more about that, like how special it was when she went pro. Like she asked me something that like I'll never forget for the rest of my life. But like that kind of thing, I think it was more just emotional dependency that like I'm the youngest of four. I'm used to listening. I don't talk about my problems much. I just like to listen and try to figure out what I can do. So it just worked out that way.
Yeah, I got you. So is it a situation where you think, and either one of you guys can answer in this one, guys and girls, can answer in this one, but is it a situation where like words don't necessarily need to be said for you to read what's going on? Or
sometimes I think so. Yeah. Like I think if you know your guy or girl well enough, you know, it's an energy. It's an energy that you can feel. I can feel when she's not into the prep. I think she can definitely feel when I'm not into the prep because it hasn't been perfect. There were definitely even times during this prep where I started to get stressed out or just a little depressed. I obviously wouldn't take it to her, but she could just tell by my demeanor around the house. I'm quieter. I'm not like singing around the house or in the shower and stuff like I usually do. I'm like going to the gym alone or like, you know, posting like silly stuff on Instagram. It's just like, but it's just, that's how sometimes I would express myself. And like she always showed that she cared, you know, even during her prep, she'd show that she cared and be like, is everything okay? Or try to do just little unexpected like personal touches that I always thought was cute. Like she knows the things I like I like olives or I like feta, I like, you know, feta cheese, like little things. So her way of like giving me like a nugget and saying like, hey, thanks for supporting me, she'd throw like a couple of those snacks in for like go out, you know, when she was grocery shopping. That would always like personally like that. I appreciated stuff like that. Like I could tell she was speaking to me just in different ways. So it wasn't all me supporting her. She was supporting me too.
I always feel like with men, we might not say it, but we definitely want to know we're appreciated. Like, and we definitely want to know that what we're doing is like being effective. So like you said, my ex-wife used to do that for me. Like I know for a fact my love language is gifts. Obviously, look behind me. My love language is gifts. So like that's how I say I'm sorry. That's how I say I love you. And that's also how I receive it. Like if I do something wrong, I'll grab roses or something because that to me is me showing I'm thinking about you. So she would bring a Powerade 0. That would make my damn day. Like, and it's not even it's 80 cents. I'll be like, oh my God, like my life is made. You were thinking about me. You got me.
It's the thought. It's the thought.
I feel you on that, man. Like just even the little, it could be a bag of peanuts. The fact that you said, I thought you might be hungry. I saw these.
Yep. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So before we get into the next one, I do got to ask this because Matt, your shirt looking kind of tight. I see some shoulders, muscles. I'm like, oh, getting in shape. So the tables are turning a little bit in this situation.
A little bit.
We got Matt doing prep, and Rachel is going to be supporting. How is that going?
Oh man.
It just started.
And a couple days ago, and you already hate the meal plan.
I mean, she should charge $10,000 a prep if she maintains this like consistency and like persistence with me.
Yeah,
like it's like 1 p.m. on the dot. All of a sudden, just like a bowl comes out of nowhere. Exactly. Like, damn. If 8 minutes go by, she's like, "You're gonna be late on your next meal," and I'm just like, "God." But I'm done.
I'm like walking by the room. Are you still eating that?
Yeah. 3 o'clock, I'm at my desk. Something comes from under the desk, another bowl. I'm like, oh my gosh. She's really good at like when the tables are turned, she makes me look terrible.
No. But that's the thing too, is that I don't want to be too overbearing because this is your first prep. I don't want to be like so in your face, but at the same time, it's like I've very experienced in it that I want to help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that you do well, but I don't want to turn the experience, like I don't want it to turn sour because of me. Because I'm all like in your face every single second.
Yeah. You're just this vet. Like that's what we call it, like in hooping. You know, I play basketball. Like you always had a vet that just guided you and showed you the way. And it wasn't like everything he said you wanted to hear, but at the end of the day, it's the right thing.
She's like the Richard Jefferson.
Yeah.
Or like the Jerry Stackhouse of like prep, you know, like
100%.
Seasoned vet, been there before, knows what to say, knows what to do. So I mean, she like obviously perspective of just the first few days, but if it was constantly like this, I could 100, like I'd be committed 100% because my biggest issue is just, I work a lot, like between my technology career, the investments and other stuff that I do. I mean, I'll wake up, you know, it's 9, it's 10. And the next thing I know, it's 4 p.m., it's 5 p.m. I haven't eaten yet just because I've forgotten. I've been on work calls, just like you were saying, right? Like you were working, you haven't eaten. But like having somebody there and reminding me and prepping the meals and all I have to do is the gym stuff, which I love to do anyway. Yeah, like I can definitely do it.
You can't take an hour and a half to eat the meal.
I'm getting used to it. I hate chicken. Chicken's terrible.
So y'all heard about my can debacle, right? Like Ryan got mad at me because I was eating canned chicken and tuna. And so like, I kid you not, this last week, like, hey bro, diet's going pretty well. Like starting to lose some weight. Make some changes. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, but I've been eating tuna. He was like, nope, stop. Don't do. I'm like, bro, it works. Nope, do anything else. So then I tried to do chicken, and I actually went and got a what's it called, rotisserie. I threw the whole thing away.
I don't blame you.
I took like some off of it, started eating for like 2 days. Day 3, I was like, oh no, and I had 2 of them. Threw them both away.
I don't know what it is. It's so dry and like. It's just there's something about it. Like I feel like it's unnatural or something.
You gotta learn to love sauces. That would be my best advice to you. Like, and not like sauces, like not no damn barbecue sauce, stuff like that.
I know. I'm like, can I get the Chick-fil-A sauce? Then?
Nah, yeah, right. Yeah, like hot sauces. Mustard covers up everything.
Mustard for sure.
That's what you use.
I was putting mustard. It was more mustard than chicken. But like he said no Frank's hot sauce, which I figured would be fine.
Sodium.
And that's like too much sodium. That's it. The biggest challenge will be just the chicken. The chicken's what's standing in the way of me in a stage. Basically.
Well, when he watches this, if he does, I ain't eating no damn chicken. So
me neither. Let's rise up.
You guys are team no chicken.
Facts, team no chicken.
Yeah.
So my next one, and I want to start by saying this. So I got to sort of see the embrace after the pro card. Like I came like a little bit late. I saw their pictures. I've seen a lot of people get pro cards, right? Like I've seen a lot of couple get pro cards, and I've seen the hug. That probably was the most like authentic moment that I think I've ever witnessed at any show. And it wasn't just Rachel, it was really you, man. I've never seen a man like react like that. Like you could just see how proud you were. It was like y'all made it together.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about what that pro card meant for you both. And you can talk together, you can talk separately, but yeah, that moment was that was an incredible moment to witness. And I don't think a lot of people have gotten to see that. Because if you did, I think you would understand how important it is to do the journey together if you see the end like that. So
yeah. I mean, for me, like the older I get, the less, I don't want to say excited I get about things, but the harder it is to find things that I get genuinely like excited about or emotional about. Like every once in a while, like if we're watching a show or something might just catch me by surprise and I'll tear up and be like, oh, that got me. I don't know why. But like for the most part, it's harder and harder to get super excited. Like I'll watch sports or I'll watch like MMA. And if somebody that I'm rooting for wins, like I'm pumped, but there's not that like, you know, like little kid feeling in you, like the night before Christmas or when you got PlayStation or when you got, you know, Nintendo or whatever, like that genuine, like it's in your stomach and you're like going crazy. I can't, it's really, really hard. The older I get, it's hard to like recreate that feeling. And I think for me, again, going back to, I watched her like not just year one, day one, like 85, 90 pound, super skinny, not an athletic bone in her body. Like just, you know, going to the gym, like because I was going kind of, and then I watched the podcast that you guys did together where she's like, I watched, you know, she saw somebody, a competitor, couldn't even remember her name and decided to go down that path. I mean, for me, my perspective on Rachel is that she hasn't been genuinely recognized for much in her life. That's just the reality. Like super consistent, super nice, super diligent, doesn't miss work, like takes such good care of our dogs and stuff like that. But a lack of recognition, like for her entire life, I feel like. And so when she picked this sport up, and as the years went on, and I saw that she was getting closer and closer to actually being able to do this thing. Like I remember first show in Long Island, I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm looking at the magazines, like NPC magazines, and seeing these girls and seeing her up like in the green bikini. And I'm like, man, like this is going to be a process, you know? And then I think when she won a regional show and then she was doing national shows, I'm like, all right, like this might actually be a thing. This might be possible. And then like she starts getting first call outs. I'm like, this girl's actually like, she's getting there. Like she's getting there. And so just being on that journey, you know, knowing that like really like I say poor girl, like in her life has just never been recognized. I started to become a huge fan. And so when I was watching it like sports, like back like prime LeBron Cavs days, like I started to watch these things like sports, like please call her name out, call her number out, put her in the middle. Didn't happen. Top five didn't happen. So when we were at the show in Phoenix, like they put her in the middle. I felt crazy. I mean, I don't have kids, so I don't get an opportunity to see like my kids participate in sports and stuff like that. But like the feeling that I had was insane. Like I was shaking. I was trying to videotape it. I was shaking. My heart was pounding. I was sweating. And I'm like, oh my God, like we're in a position right now. Like this girl she could win. She's going to go pro. I knew how much it meant to her. I just was rooting for her so hard because I wanted her to get that recognition that she, and in my opinion, has deserved her whole life. And she never got. So obviously Friday, first call outs, longest night of our lives. I'm like smoking cigars outside, like in the pool. She's not sleeping. She's trying to clean the hotel room. So I'm like, go, you got to
I was like
go
pacing
count
back
something.
and forth,
Do something.
following you around.
And then like, just so they call, you know, fifth place, fourth place. they called third place, like my heart dropped. Like it was like I could have fainted. I teared up. I could have bawled my eyes out if I wanted to like be that guy. But looking at her face and seeing like that emotion, it's a cool opportunity, because I don't know for the rest of life when I'm ever going to see that look on her face again. Like I just won. I'm at the mountaintop. I achieved my goal. That could potentially be a once in a lifetime thing, ever. So I was just like, I mean, shocked, happy, so excited, so happy. I was, waiting backstage. I saw two girls with similar complexion and red bikinis come out. I was trying to hug them, thinking it was her. I think
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, because Andrew's laughing at me. I think I almost hung or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I'm like trying to hug her. I'm like, where is she? Where's she? And then when I saw her, yeah, it was just like I wanted to just have that moment like with her. And she's just like, did I make you proud? Like, that I'm just like insane. Like, just something it's hard to describe, but like she deserved it. I was happy to be there, front row, like just seeing it happen and seeing from the beginning to the end and the accomplishment. Obviously it's not the end. Sorry, but like, I mean, I can't even describe it. It's like just insane, like incredible.
Oh, is it my turn?
What about you?
We're waiting.
Oh, I'm just listening. No, I mean, for me, I just feel like I'm still speechless over everything. Just, coming from a non-athletic background and everything, and just being able to say I grinded my way to becoming a pro athlete. You know what I mean? It's surreal. Like, I don't know if I ever really believed that I would make it. I mean, I knew it's like I was so close yet so far every single time. And I just didn't know if it actually was going to happen. And I like thought about the moment so much that when it finally was here, it was just like, I don't know. I'm just speechless. I still can't even find the right words to describe the way I feel. It's just like this crazy emotion, and just having you there from, beginning to that moment, it was like, you were the first person that I wanted to see. Like, obviously, like as soon as I stepped off stage, I was trying to grab my stuff so that I could like run right over to you and just like hug you. It was just like when I said, I was like, we did it. Like, we finally did it. Like I truly believed it. Like, we were a team. So
it's cool. And I'm not winning anything. I don't play sports. So I'm living vicariously through her.
You won her.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
That's what
I root for the underdogs too, man. Like, I remember when she first started, like even my friends were kind of like, like poking fun at her, like, oh, make a muscle, like we're all at dinner, and she's just like, and there's this little nothing. And I'm just like, this is redemption. I mean, just so many different, like, redemption, recognition, so deserved, like underdog story. Just like,
I'm 100%. When I heard the story, I was like, my mouth dropped. I was just like, what? Because it's not only like an inspiring story to hear, but it really makes you question your heart when you hear somebody that's grinded and went through that to get to their goal. And it's like a lot of people out here, one or two shows, they don't get what they want, they're done. And it's not just bodybuilding, that's with anything. I've seen a lot of people not get the momentary success or the satisfaction as quick as they want, and they just give up. So like, to hear what you did and how you did it and to continue to go is something that, like, obviously my podcast isn't huge yet. It's not huge yet, but your story needs to be heard by a lot of people in the fitness industry, not just bikini girls and men's physique, it's bodybuilders, because like, it's not always, we see a lot of fantasy that we don't realize is fantasy. Like, I tell people all the time, LeBron James is like a fantasy turned reality. Like, you don't understand. 6'9", 260. Nobody can move like that. Like, there's one of him. Yeah, like So when you aspire to be LeBron, but you're 5'9", 185 pounds, probably not going to work. Like
I
maybe,
tried.
but
What are you
probably
trying to
not.
say?
That's the fantasy player reality. But you got other people, like Rachel, who still got to that level. They're still there. They just worked their ass off to get there. Sometimes that's what it takes, man. So yeah, I think your story is really inspirational. And I think both of you, it's weird because I've only met y'all in person one time, but both y'all's energy is so dope. And like, I feel like I've known y'all forever. And
I
like,
feel the same way about you. I'm
Yeah.
like commenting on the first comment on your picture. I'm like, nah, bro, you look better than this dude. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
I just met this guy. I'm already telling him he's good looking. I don't know. We're probably related or something, bro.
Somewhere,
Like,
yeah,
we're
gotta
family.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta be, man. But yeah, you got both of you were just even like I told Ryan when we went, and hung out and stuff. It's like you're just real chill, cool people. So I was super excited to have you on to hear perspective and talk to you both because now it's not just Rachel's story, it's both of you that I'll get to share. And I think people should listen to this and there's a lot of gems as far as how to be a spouse. In both ways,
sure.
as a competitor and as a non-competitor, because it's not easy. Like it's not.
Yeah.
So before we end this, anything else y'all want to say? I don't want to hold y'all up. I know y'all got ground chicken to go find in Miami somewhere. So I don't want to hold y'all up too much longer.
No, now that makes me want to stay longer thinking about when we end, I got to eat more ground chicken. No, I think that's it, man.
Good.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all joining. Rachel, y'all owe me a Backstreet Boys concert, so I haven't forgot about that.
I'm down.
I heard that like apparently NSYNC and Backstreet Boys are supposed to be making a group together, but it's like the rejects. It's like the people we don't like, Lance and Joey and like Chris and got like
Howie.
yeah, like
the ones you don't know,
the ones we don't care about, like that. Yeah. So, but I heard that's supposed to be. But yeah, again, I appreciate y'all coming. This was a great conversation. I look forward to sharing it. And Rachel, I look forward to seeing you on a pro stage. Matt, I look forward to seeing you get on stage.
Yes.
Maybe a regional show.
I think you're gonna surprise yourself, bro. You got potential, dog. Like you can be a good competitor. Like you can get a pro card too. So that might be the next step.
We'll hit you up for posing.
Yeah.
I'm that dude. Tell Spoon I said that too. I don't care. I'm better than him too. I'm the best poser in the world. I feel that.
If I win a regional, you got to give me at least one pair of the shoes in the background. I'll pick one pair.
Oh, that's asking a lot.
First of all, I'm never gonna do that because you might pick my best shoe. But I do have an idea though. So you know how Ryan does the Team Legacy jackets? If I get my pro card, I'm doing a custom pair of Team Legacy shoes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I just did my homeboy does custom, so y'all got time?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's fresh. The Rugrats.
I got Batman and Joker one, so I know he can do it. He just did one for me. So that's my plan. I don't want that. I want that jacket, but like I would never wear that thing. I want the shoes, Team Legacy shoes.
That's the play.
Now you win a show, I can do that for you. I'll get you a custom point done.
All right.
Spanos Mania.
We got it on camera. It's recorded.
It's on camera, yeah. We'll do it. I'm not giving you none of my babies though.
Works for me.
But all right, for everybody that was listening, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your ears. For those watching, you got to see 3 beautiful faces. I hope you feel happy. I know I do. I will be putting descriptions and links, everything that you need to know for Matt's Instagram, for Rachel's Instagram, so you continue to follow and support. I'll have this uploaded on Spotify and YouTube for those listening. If you want to share it to anybody, you'll have that link. Thank you. Have a great day.